So thank you for joining us today. With us today on this series is Madam Loh Mui Lang, Executive Director of the Salvation Army Peacehaven in Singapore. Hi, Madam Loh. Welcome to today's session. Can you please share with us a bit about your organization and what you do?
Thank you, Janice, for this opportunity to share. The Salvation Army Peacehaven is under the auspices of the Salvation Army, which is an international organization. So in Singapore, Peacehaven, we provide nursing home, residential care. We also provide day centers program, ranging from active aging hub to maintenance day care and also dementia care program. And we are also reaching out. We have a boundary of population that we're also reaching out to encourage the senior to come out in the community and be part of the community rather than move into social isolation. So we do provide a range of services.
In your role as Executive Director, what do you do?
In my role, I oversee every part of the different program, ensuring that the program meet its objective, and also to think about how we can innovate to meet the needs of the senior out there. It is not just following the term and condition of each program.
Great. Well, we'd like to talk a bit about what care leadership means to you.
Okay, for care leadership, I believe that firstly, you must love the people that you serve. So the people that I serve are the senior. I need to understand them and also be open to their various needs and requests. So, important thing in being a care leader, you also need to understand not only just the senior, but what kind of profile of staff that you need to hire and the skill capability that they need to able to meet the needs of the senior. So in terms of care leadership, it's not just an administrative role, just to make sure your corporate services are just in line with the regulation. It is more than that. Corporate services, there are a lot of rules and regulations you can follow. That's not difficult. But in terms of care leadership, you really have to listen to the senior. Recently we also have one that says, I just want to play mahjong. They're like, okay, how do I do that? So really, to be a care leader, you need to listen to the ground, need to analyze how you can meet those needs. And also, of course, technically, we also say, you have to see whether the needs are realistic or not, that we can also meet their needs there to make them happy.
Well, you talked a bit about staffing earlier in care leadership. What are 3 characteristics that jump out at you when you interview a new staff? It makes you really want to hire this person. What are 3 things that you may, quite accurately look out for?
Firstly, I actually look for someone who is diligent, very hardworking. Okay. Secondly, the person must have passion. But of course, when you do interview, they can tell you all sort of story why they want, right? But I will actually listen to their story because some of them has a true story behind them or what motivates them. And because with a true story, that will actually give them the passion to be able to deliver the work. Thirdly, I actually look for someone who will be creative because, a lot of things we have to think out of the box. It is not just conducting this program, we just do it this way. It is not just a very kind of silo kind of work. And also with that, I also look at this person who has also worked with a team of people, not working by themselves alone.
I think that's definitely 3 things that's very good for us to look out for. Well, what is your care philosophy?
Okay, for me, I always believe, even in Peacehaven, we say professional care that we provide in our space here. So in terms of professional care, if we are the nurse, we do our best in terms of delivering our care in all our technical skills, be it social worker and therapist. So for me is, wanting to actually encourage senior to continue to be as independent as possible. So I have this, what I call a rehabilitative model, because I am a rehab nurse. So, everything that I see in a senior can improve, can be improved. And then, I always say, let's do it, improve first. If I do all that I can to improve, and then you maintain, as that is your possible maintenance, or what we call the word plateau, that means you can't do much more, never mind, I still engage you. So we my philosophy is let the senior do, but don't frustrate them. When they cannot do, then I take over.
Yeah. So it's about choice and a bit of encouragement to enable them to be the best person they can be. Well, you shared with us earlier that you were a nurse, and today you are the executive director of the Salvation Army Peacehaven. How did you progress your career?
Okay. So the interesting part is this, okay. It's because I have to set up home. So in the home, the regulation is you really need a nurse. And so as a nursing leader, in small home, you also become the administrator and you have to just take care of everything. That was how I started off in 1996, in this one of the home in Singapore. So naturally, when I joined the Salvation Army, I decided that I do not want to have anything to do with operation and administration. But as I continue to do the work and when there is movement, the Salvation Army actually approached me to take up this role. I actually am resistant to the role, but I think for the betterment of the resident and also to bring the staff together, whether it be administration or the care staff, then I decided that maybe this is a role I can take up and do have a how to say a better outcome, okay, in terms that because I understand the senior and because as an executive director, certain things that when the senior needs, I normally have to go to executive director, right? As a director of nursing, you have to post it. So now actually I talk to myself holding that role, and then I also know where to look for what funds to actually bring in to actually operationalize what would be better for the senior.
Well, talking about that, we know you have an interesting project called the Jade Circle. Tell us about Jade Circle.
Okay, Jade Circle Arena. Okay, in Jade Circle, we actually have a 4-story building. 2 story has been dedicated to be an arena, and one level actually for academy, and the other level is for apartment, a single room and 2-bedded apartment that empowers the seniors. So the seniors, they are living on the 4th floor in the apartment. They can every day go down to 1st floor or 2nd floor, like any other people living in the community, to have their own daily life of a meal, exercise, or even a hair salon cut, have their hair cut, right? So the arena is a space we call the fun place. Yes, with the arcade, with the reminiscent of a bar stimulator, I sit there. I cannot go to Chinatown. I can view Chinatown. We are also able to have activities in terms of arcade, in terms of competition, in terms of team competition. And one of the new things that we started is because of post-COVID, we all cannot go to visit different countries. We started off with Japan, and now we'll be in China virtually. And then we have been our own Olympic competition among the seniors. So, but it may seem just all fun, right? But it is not just fun, but it's in this fun, we actually improve the mental well-being of the senior. And nobody like to say, oh, I cannot remember, I have dementia. But what you are saying is, hey, you see, I'm doing this, come, let's go along and let's do it together. So, even person living with dementia who are moderate dementia cannot remember a lot of things, but they see you do, it is a prompting environment, we call it, and they be guided along. And in this place, children can come. So in that sense, what we hope to achieve, especially in this school holiday that's coming up, that the public will just come to this place with their children and enjoy. So, we even have 4 hours joy hour, 4 hours of joy hour where family can put their children above 7, to have fun with us, and they can go and do whatever they want to do, in terms of their own chores, or they actually can be a volunteer to our other residents, or they can actually form their own interest group. So there's a lot of things that's happening there. And what we hope to achieve is not just the public coming in, but our residents, okay, who are still safe to interact, or even our day centers client can interact with the public, in this one community space. We call it the family space.
Well, it's truly a family club kind of concept, and it sounds like a really exciting and new approach towards how we see care for older people. It's not just giving them care, but I think it's giving them an environment where they can live well. And it's a great initiative out there. Well, surely you might have many stories about how seniors have improved their lives since being under the care of the Salvation Army Peacehaven. Is there a favorite story you have of a particular senior that you'd like to share with us today?
Okay, so immediately this first thought that came to me is about a person who was living on the street. So as he was getting more frail, definitely he landed in hospital, as normally most of our stories would go this way. And then he was then admitted to Peacehaven Nursing Home. When he came in, we had hard time getting him to shower, and his hair was very long. So like we were saying, maybe he don't look so clean, but we can understand because he'd been living on the street. So over the period of time, we show him the love and show him that this is a safe place, and we actually empower him to say, no, you can make your drink. And then as he find that, okay, this is a safe place, now he will actually go to the salon and have his hair trimmed. He will shower, we have new clothes, and then he will go down for his various activity. So instead of out in the street, he tried to find things to do and things to see. Now in the Jade Circle Arena, one of the beautiful things that I saw him doing was playing billiard. He's educated, just that, maybe because as he become forgetful, his executive function doesn't make very good, wise decision making, problem solving, right? So over here, he actually start participating in a lot of activities, and that keep him moving. And he also participate in our program called the Gym Tonic, frailty muscle strengthening exercise, and he's actually getting himself to be as independent as possible so that he can walk over a longer period of time. So for me, is when I look at him, well, when you say, Mr. Tan, how are you today? You can't say that. He says, what is so good about today? Then we'll say, did you enjoy? Did you play billiard today? And then you can start having a conversation with him. So one of the outcome is that we are happy that he gets settled down. He decides to say this is his home, and he's able to participate in activity. Well, he may be very curt in his response, but that is who he is, and we accept him for his personality, his identity. So his needs are met in many different ways in this kind of philosophy of care and the design of the environment that was built for him.
And I noticed the approach is really not so much of that clinical touch, but it's more of looking at what he likes and his preferences. And you've probably really created many stories around him that makes his life and himself feel a lot more interesting to many of the people around him too. So I think it's a great opportunity to get to know different people, by participating in activities. So on that area, we would also like to extend the conversation talking next about the use of technology that has been implemented so that you can provide better care and better quality of life for older people. What are some implementations you'd like to share?
Okay, so firstly, we have implemented a clinical software where we do all the recordings of the senior. Then we also are able to record their behavior, what their likes and their dislike, their biography. And then we actually will then discuss the resident, what would be the plan of care. That means what they like, how they want to live their life on a daily basis. And then, of course, when they have they definitely have a medical problem, okay? And then we will actually work through the medical issue. So this clinical software is very important. And that actually provide efficiency, when we all want to have information, different people have different type of access to the information. And we can support the person. Even if you don't know the person, you read the information, you know how to support in your own way. The other thing that we have in the J Circle is we have this fall detection program. That means if the resident fall, we know where they are, and we're able to actually look out for them. And the other thing is they're able to move around freely because we have this face recognition system. Why we need to put it, why we need to implement this is so that when the resident, because there are people living with dementia, they go down to the second floor, or even as they go down to the first floor, they're nearing the door, okay, of exit. At least we can go by and pick them up and say, hello, I think we need to do this, right? And divert them. Reason is because we do not want them to go out on the streets and found the streets being not safe for them. Okay, so we do not want to have any difficult situation that arises for them. The other thing that we also use is, we use IT for our various exercise program, like the hand cycle, the leg cycle, in terms of a virtual world. Then we also have what we call a silver pad, that we actually do the different activities in terms of cognition, and then that will also get them to actually gain points, and we are able to track their level, okay, of difficulty, and with that they also actually gain points in by participating in all these various activities. And also when they actually do exercise, they got more points. Reason is because when they stay in the nursing home, unlikely that they will have cash flow. So what we wanted was, most important to all of us in our life, we must have money to buy the things we like. So to give them that part of their life, and instead of stripping it away, their social interaction and connection, we also, through the activities, also get them to gain points. And then with the points, they actually can redeem for certain things that they prefer. And those things that are not available, we will actually source and then get it to them. Nowadays we got such a thing as online, but for us, we will actually go and pick it up and then pass it to them. So what we wanted to do is try to reduce the ideology of that, when you stay in this residential setting, these are all the restrictions. So while we are living in the community, we just do what we like to do. So we try to actually accommodate that as much as possible, inclusive the type of food that they like. So sometimes they will accumulate a lot of points and say, can I have a duck drumstick? Sure, Then we say, okay, you see here, you have actually gained this. So it's actually an incentive for the senior, even as they actually participate in these various activities. And because we are very competitive people, so we need all this competition. So that is the reason why we also use IT to track. We also have an immersive room, okay, immersive room that you actually can have this overall in terms of visual. Oh, I'm in the water world, sit there, listen, being there. And also we have different type of activities that they can use the IT platform, even to meet some of their needs in terms, like for example, resident very anxious, then we use this lantern, the Taiwanese lantern, it's a touch, ask them to touch. Okay, you're anxious about this thing, let's bless the person, and as they light up the lantern will flow off. So it's a place that there are various things, that there's various outcomes that you can receive, for the individual who are anxious, or even some of them who are angry. So there are many emotional needs that we are trying to meet, and also to create a sense of mental well-being. So if you are very stressed, you go in on soft music, aircon cool, and then calm down. So these are different IT technology that we are using.
I think that really reminds me a lot of how it's really focused on quality of life. Well, our next question to you is, when you think about the phases quality of life and quality of care, what immediately comes to mind when you hear these two phrases, and how does it relate to what you do at the Peacehaven?
Okay, when we say quality of care, so you must provide the best care. The best care with the highest level of professionalism. So that is a lot about technical skill, right? And technical knowledge. When quality of life is, what does this person want in terms of quality of life? What is empower this person? What is the autonomy? What is the dignity that you're going to provide to this person? Because to all of us here, each and every one of us, our quality of life is different, and from stage to stage, right? In our various stages of life, we look for various things. So for the older person staying in a residential setting, the best that we can give them is the dignity, the privacy, and empowering them so that they also have the autonomy to continue to live their life. Even in this setting, if they are given an opportunity to stay at home, this would be what they are be having, right? So I always say this is their alternative home arrangement.
Yes, it's really the second home for them, surrounded by a family of people who care for them. When we think about quality of life and quality of care, I think sometimes we often live in a society where everything has to be tracked, and the role of data analytics has found its way into aged care. It's frequently being used to monitor and track progress for us. How important is data analytics used for tracking quality of life and quality of care?
Okay, today in this evidence-based world, I think it's very important. Firstly, I also believe strongly in data tracking so that we can improve care. So, in our clinical software, I'm able to track a lot of things that we actually have put in, and I will be able to respond. I think the next phase is how do we track quality of life, because there's so much variance in it, and then also in terms of quality of care, I would say quality of care is much easier because it's all about technical fix. And then, it's like, okay, if you have a big pressure ulcers, can we shorten the period of healing with better products? What would it cost? Overall, things like that. Then I would say that in terms of like even the wound, then we are talking about we actually reduce pain, we reduce suffering, right? So, I mean, these are very important data because with this data, then we can actually move forward in how the future care can be delivered and will be delivered and what kind of resources will be needed. So, in order to say how which product is better. So it's a lot of technical knowledge that you need. And also you have to have the capability of the staff, okay, to be able to even carry out care and able to see that the longer the person having to use a product that actually take a longer period to heal, that actually to that person who is lying there with that wound, actually the person is suffering. I think sometimes we don't recognize that.
I think definitely that's an area we need to consider. So, what are some ways that we can measure and improve care and happiness for residents?
Okay, so I think how can we measure? I would say that I'm still looking out for products or tools, maybe we say toolkits, to be able to measure how we actually can improve the care of our resident. So this is something is new to me, something that I'm also still searching while I look around for different type of products to actually tell us the answer.
In the trials and your search for all these various products, what are some important indicators that you look for, or perhaps benchmarks that they use? What have you spotted out there?
Okay, so basically when I actually evaluate all this product, right? So I actually look at the outcome. And at the outcome, I will say, as I look at every line, are these the thing that actually I would agree with, to give me this answer, this response, to actually qualify for what I've been looking for. So for example, currently I already on a feedback system. Okay, so then now I'm actually, every time as we actually gather the feedback from resident, I have resident that information, what they like, what they don't like, what are my shortfall, and also same from family members. So with this kind of product, we also want a quick turnaround time. That means the data analysis, when you actually ask, you can actually respond in a timeline that is we are able to cope with. Because sometimes you can't immediately answer all the meet all the needs, but at least it gives you the answer, that it gives you the evidence that these are some things that you need to work on, and that will then be our measurement, and that will be then how we actually start what we call a quality improvement program, right? Something to trigger us, and then we start looking at it and improve on our services. Yeah.
Fantastic insights for us. Well, our last question to you, and also the million-dollar question in today's staffing world: how can we motivate and develop talent?
Okay, it is really a difficult question, but I think to develop talent, firstly, I always, when I hire staff, anybody comes along, first, as I said earlier on, I want the person to be willing to learn. So if the person is willing to learn and do have a heart, we can actually develop them. And as we know them, we also will then know what is their strength. So I will also conduct what I consider a transactional analysis to understand where's their strength and see if this is a strength. It's also something that they like to do, because sometimes the strength is not something that they like to do, right? On certain area, because maybe they too long in that area, they want to do something else. So then how to develop them in the strength, and the strength, how to have their strength being utilized within the organization that they are being employed now. So the other thing is, for the care leaders, they also need to be able to critique and analyze, okay, their business model and the kind of capability that they're going to bring in. Because each time a person walk into your office and you're going to conduct the interview, as you listen to them, you may in your mind know that you want to get a certain profile, but then out of the box you may have another kind of profile, and then but you like the personality, you need to like the personality. The person must have a heart. Then how you actually bring this person on board but still meet the organization needs in terms of carrying out that program.
Wonderful. Well, a special plug for our leaders in the care sector. For you, Madam Low, what's the biggest satisfaction you've had in your entire career in the care sector?
Well, I say over the last 30 years out in a long-term care facility, I would say my best satisfaction is still my resident or my clients are happy. And, they are in better state than when they first came to me. So I felt that I have contributed to them in their life, and that keeps me going.
A truly rewarding and very satisfying career that you have. And we look forward to hearing more about the new innovations and interesting stories of life that you get from the joy of interacting with your residents. And we look forward to seeing you again. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you.
CarePage Business is the only feedback platform designed for the health and aging sectors. With CarePage Business, you can uncover powerful customer experience insights, monitor resident or client feedback and complaints in a single, easy-to-use platform, and get the insights you need to drive continuous improvement in services and facilities.